guys doing? Hello and welcome to the Data Break Podcast, episode 58 for the week of June 16th, 2016. I'm your host, James Lee, and with me today we have Taylor Kelsey.
Hello.
And Max Lee. No
Hello.
relation. No relation. Hey, how are you guys doing?
Pretty well.
Coming to you live from Route 66, playing with Reinhardt. Did not have time to finish this game.
That's fine. It's a preview of the Overcast.
Good multitasking in.
Max, speaking of which...
Yes. I finally bought Overwatch.
Heyo.
So we'll be able to do all that stuff real soon. Anyway, so busy. We're gonna get right to it because we're gonna be a little short on time. But busy week this week, right? Two big events. First of which was WWDC, Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, and then the second of which is E3, which is electronic entertainment expo. I always for a while I was really confused for no reason because I thought I was is the second 3 like a backwards E? No, it's just 3 E's, so that's why it's E3. E cubed would be a little whatever. Okay, so we're gonna go through the main big news. First, we're gonna get a little bit of tech news out of the way first, and then we'll get straight into WWDC and E3. So first one is Motorola has kind of announced their newest phone, and they beat Apple to the punch, which I don't know if they're even. I won't even call it a punch. It's more like a kick in the balls because they are the first phone manufacturer to remove the 3.5 millimeter audio jack. So it is one USB Type-C port. So that's the reversible USB port, and that is it. Nothing else.
That's good.
Do you think so? What if you want to charge your phone and listen to music, Taylor?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Oh.
I just like adding a removing thing, simplifying it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it does look nicer. It probably will look nicer, and it does sound better. But I don't know.
What is their answer? I'm sure people, what you said, is the first thing people thought of. What is their answer to charging and listening to stuff at the same time?
Bluetooth?
Is that an official thing? Or
I mean, or adapters for days, I guess. That's
but a USB split.
Or yeah, like USB split. Yeah. I mean, I don't want that though. Do you want that?
No, that's a little too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean,
if
Max,
they had for simplicity's sake.
How about do you do? I mean, how often do we do that though? Do you listen to music and charge your phone at the same time a lot?
Not really, but I still prefer they have the option.
I agree.
My phone battery is not doing great because I've had it for 2 years.
Oh, really?
Planned obsolescence and all that. So.
Yeah.
And when you're in a car, that's when you charge your phone and listen to music.
Oh, you're right.
There's really not any other option there.
I mean, in the car, it's not that big of a deal because you have room for all that that kind of messy adapter stuff.
I guess.
But I mean,
still want more things.
I suppose the solution is to use Bluetooth, but I mean, I've actually been using a Bluetooth pair of headphones actually for a while now because my go-to portable headphones, my Koss Porta Pros, actually crapped out on me. It was really funny actually. It was a pretty funny story. I'll get into it real quick. I just came out of a really bad final, and I came out feeling pretty dejected, and I was like, oh man, I totally failed that exam. I'm gonna fail this class, but at least I'm gonna just go for a run at the gym and run it off, listen to some tunes. So I get to the gym, and then I pull out my headphones, and they're in shambles. And I'm like, oh no. I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do to listen to music? And I found out this is kind of a good example of how much shit I have in my apartment, and I need to get on it and cleaning stuff out. I was cleaning around, and then I found a pair of headphones just behind my monitor. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I had
behind your monitor.
Behind my
the place you're next to all the time. You just happened to miss it.
Yeah. I'm like, I forgot about these. So I've been using these Bluetooth headphones, and they actually sound okay. So, and I use them for running, especially for running. So I really like it. So I guess Bluetooth could be a good solution. Speaking of which, Bluetooth 5 is they're coming out with Bluetooth 5, so it's faster, longer, harder, better, faster, stronger. You know.
I was gonna say that too.
Yeah. But like
Is it
better
the Daft
range,
Punk
I
version of that
guess.
song, or is it the Kanye West version of that song?
You know what? Like I really like the Daft Punk version of the song. I don't think Kanye like did injustice to it. I don't think he like butchered it. So oh, speaking of Kanye, actually, he released an update to his album. This is interesting.
This is we can talk about this. I could get into this for sure.
Yeah, sure. So like Kanye West's album, The Life of Pablo.
T-shirt seller.
Yeah.
Hip hop t-shirt seller.
And shoe seller. Well, not so much
seller.
of that since they're so hard to find. So I guess he's not, not so much the selling, I guess. More
Man
than,
with the ego to end all egos.
Yeah. He released his album, The Life of Pablo, a few months ago, and the interesting thing is that it's a digital only release on. It was on Tidal at first, but I think it's on Spotify now, right?
It is on Spotify now.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that it's not physical, so you can't buy a CD, or for you vinyl junkies, vinyl. But it's only digital because he plans on updating it every once in a while. So this album gets updates. Any thoughts about that? Like,
well, it's interesting because new media changes everything.
Right.
In terms of when it's actually out, we've seen that in video games a ton of like early access changing what it means to buy a video game and like what makes video game done.
Right. A lot of games are digital now. A lot of games I don't think you could buy Battlefield 1 physically, actually, for PCs.
But there's something to be said about like an artistic statement of like, this is what this is. We know what it is. And I'm confident in my product and my art that I've made. But when you say, when he tweeted, I'm going to fix wolves like a day after he released the album, it's different than a video game where they're like trying to figure out bugs so that the experience is better. He just said, the experience is bad because I made this bad, not because it's weird for some users.
To use the literal, like the internet joke, literally unlistenable.
Yes.
Yeah. It's actually brought about really interesting things because like I don't know if you could like save older versions of his album. I assume you can, but I'm not sure if that's the case.
Well, I've illegally downloaded it, so yes.
Well, yeah, I guess everything is permanent on the internet.
Yeah.
But like I was talking to my coworker about this album lately, and he was like, "Yeah, I actually preferred the old version of Famous, one of the tracks on the album. I like the sample he used in the old version more than the new version." And I thought it was just really interesting that like he likes different versions. I mean, I guess we all like our own like. Oh, I like the Bob Dylan cover
Covers?
of
Which cover of Kanye's West do you like? Do you like May Kanye West, June Kanye West?
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's pretty pretty innovative to have something like that, I guess. But
I don't know if it's like he's
the first to do it. Yeah.
If it's like a big deal, in the way that it's not like he's trying to make a big statement. He said he was going to release another album. He just constantly is doing random shit.
Yeah.
It's not like he's trying to make a point of like new media and music or anything like that.
At the same time, it's kind of admirable for an artist to like put something out and then like work harder to like
Stronger.
to make it better.
But then, these are arguments that have been had over and over again in video games. But like, why not just make it better in the first place?
Yeah. What was that old Iwata quote? I think, like a game, like a perfect game takes forever, like a really long time to make or something. But like a bad game is forever bad or something like that.
What was it? Something.
Bad game lasts forever, but takes a really long time to make a really good game, something like that.
Yeah.
Along those lines, where
it's
infamous.
To be fair, that quote was like back in the old days when we didn't have games that could be updated over the internet.
Yeah.
But
he still had the point in which a bad game, if it's released bad, most people will always remember it as bad.
Yeah, like we'll talk like Duke Nukem. People still haven't forgiven like Battlefield 4 yet. Like one of my friends came up to me today and he says like, "Hey, Battlefield 4 is on sale for $5. Great deal, by the way. Like, should I get it?" My friend told me it's bad. I'm like, I was thinking like he probably played it at launch when it was like really horrible, but right now it's great. It's a blast.
Yeah.
So it's a yeah. I mean I would much prefer that they would just worked on it until it was good, and then they didn't have to do anything else. But although there's the expectation of updates too, right? Like people nowadays, there's an expectation. Like with Overwatch, people are like, when's the next update?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Maybe people are just like content starving, but I don't know.
But
I mean, the idea of if something's bad or we need more content to a game, just adding more on its face is not a bad idea. It's just the problem with everything on the internet that it's just they ramp it up to 11 unnecessarily. Where it's like Overwatch, people wanting new content a week after it comes out. We first made fun of like day one DLCs, but now that's become an expectation.
Oh, day one patches, yeah.
Stuff like that. We used
Yeah.
to make fun of it, like why didn't you put this in the actual game? But now we're like, now it feels like
You're like, I hope they have it so they fix any crazy bugs.
yeah.
It's I like it's probably I had a conversation earlier with a friend about like the decline of the games industry, and it was interesting because like he argued that games were a lot better back then than they were now, which I wouldn't say that's true.
not necessarily.
I think I feel that it's shifted more towards
Also,
the
that
idea.
fade back then is really funny. Everyone's like, "Oh, things were better before." Like that's not really specific in any way.
Like I mean, I actually told him like just like what, prove it to me. Like give me a list of titles that came out a while ago that are good, that are like people would critically acclaim as good. And then like I was just like a silly internet argument, so I didn't expect him to go through it with it.
Yeah.
But like an hour later, he comes back with like an Excel sheet of like like a couple dozen different games. This is Luciano, by the way. So
Okay, that makes
so
sense.
yeah. On the podcast a year ago for E3. He's not here this time. But like, and then I was like, I got curious then. I was like, what about 2015 then?
Like 2015 was a hell of a year, but just like in general, it's hard to say like games were better before because it's not really objective, and the way time works with better graphics and everything, it's hard to compare them.
Yeah, it takes a lot more work now.
Yeah, and when they say before compared to today, they're talking about pretty much everything that was before as compared to a small portion of modern time. So,
Right.
Yeah, because it's just everything's the bad stuff is amplified because it's the internet.
yeah.
But it's definitely like the best time to play video games is right now. Most variety and availability.
Right.
Yep.
And I argue that like I mean if you don't like a game like that like this publisher released, there are like a dozen other games you could play. There's indies, especially indies are like a great like source. Like I probably play like a total of like 3 or 4 AAA titles a year. But like to fill it up, I fill up the gaps with indie titles.
If he's arguing that like it's the death of like AAA games, I would be more willing to hear that argument out.
Yes. I guess that's fair too. Although I mean, even AAA games they haven't been terrible. I would say they've been doing okay as well. Like Deus Ex, I think is going to be a good AAA title. I mean, although people would argue that's a AA. Battlefield 1 looks to be shaping up pretty good. But yeah. I want to like we'll get back to the games in just a bit, but I want to talk about WWDC for just a little bit because
Okay, yeah, sorry.
yes, no, it's okay. I mean we're short on time, so that's why I'm being a little bit rushed. So I was almost thoroughly convinced that industry leaders have been listening to our podcast. Like I'm like I
So
swear.
you're saying 2 industry leaders have been listening to our podcast.
2 industry leaders have been listening to our podcast. The first of which was probably about a little bit more than a year ago, I think, when Ravenstorm and myself were like trying to figure out the best way to handle like Steam machines, right? And we were like, what if there was just like a $50 little box, like a Chromecast that you could plug into your TV and you'd be able to stream your PC games from your computer over your home network into your TV. And then sure enough, Valve releases the Steam Link, which is basically just that. And then and then a couple of weeks ago on our last podcast, I was ranting about the lack of iMessage on Android. And I was like, you know what? Just just give me iMessage. I just want iMessage on my Android phone. That's all. I don't care. and then literally a week later, a rumor came out saying that Apple is to release iMessage on Android, WWDC. To which everyone was, very as much as the Android fanboys hate to admit it, they were probably pretty hyped about it, so they could just talk to their friends with iPhones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, it's like fuck brand loyalty. It's like I just want to,
I just want
communicate with people.
Yeah, that was really what it came down to. Because there's like a weird social and I guess we could talk about it now. Actually, there's a weird social effect of like which messaging platform you use. Because I mean, a lot of my friends, they just use because iMessage is like seamlessly integrated with your text messages, which we have to make the distinction, right, between iMessages and text messages.
Yeah.
Because Apple just seamlessly integrates the two, people don't tell the difference. So they're just like, I'm just going to text him when they're actually iMessaging them. And then because of all the cool features you could do, you could send GIFs and all that cool stuff. Like people have that expectation they could do that with everyone. And then I have a friend who's trying to send me like a 4 megabyte GIF over SMS, and it just turns out horribly.
Yeah.
And that it's just like little things like that, and I'd like to close that gap by just having iMessage on Android. Unfortunately, Apple did not announce that at WWDC. They did announce like a lot of weird other almost useless things for iMessage. The most important of which is that the emojis are 4 times bigger.
What? Oh, okay.
But why?
Did they give any reasoning? Or they're just like, we're happy to announce, the crowd went, wee, but they never explained it because they just say the word emojis and everyone cheers for some reason.
Probably.
Or they did not give any explanation of why that's important.
It's
more
more
evident.
Like it's more like just like adding features to their iMessage and making it more more attractive. I know Facebook Messenger has been adding a lot of good features to their messaging. Like, I mean, if you guys have, I mean, we've used it for our own personal, like our podcast chat, and like, there's like a lot of cool things you could do. Like, you could send so many things through it, right? And it's really fast and efficient. But people just don't want to have to choose between their different text messaging platforms. I know in non-American countries they use just like WhatsApp or something like that.
You mean internet-based false texting apps?
Yeah, like 99% of people just use WhatsApp, or I know in Japan they use Line. I know other places they use like Viber, stuff like that. So I like, it's kind of weird how Americans are kind of stuck to the antiquated SMS text messaging, and but because so many iPhones, it's just iMessage now.
It doesn't feel antiquated. I mean, it's not like I have any problems using iMessage.
Well, no, you don't have problems in using iMessage, but SMS is a different story.
Yeah, well, that's just is that because everyone in those countries have Android?
No,
they use those apps?
Actually, no. Even with those with iPhones, use WhatsApp.
That's probably just a weird culture. Fire. It's not like a exact reasoning.
I think it's a culture thing as well, and I would hope that the United States starts like kind of shifting towards that, but Facebook Messenger is actually, I mean, it's doing all right. I mean, I use it for a lot of people, but not most of my friends. So I know Max and I, we like to use Discord, which is a pretty good messaging platform I really like. Another one, I really like, I have so many platforms that I use to talk to people. I have Facebook Messenger, I have Signal, which is like a private messenger. I have Discord, I have Telegram. It's kind of insane at this point. And
why do you have so many? What's the point of that?
Because I'm a nice person, and I use the messaging platform that whoever I'm talking to most prefers. So if one of my friends prefers Telegram, I'll just use Telegram, because at the end of the day, what matters is not how I talk to them. It's like the fact that I am talking to them.
Yeah, I just never heard.
What are the benefits of Telegram?
Telegram is really nice, actually. I don't think it's as good as Discord at this point, actually, but it's apparently secure. It's fast. It's on all platforms. So yeah. I mean, I like it. It's not bad. Okay, we'll move on from WWDC. That's all I really wanted to talk about from WWDC. I know it's like a lot of Apple news, but I guess the biggest one is they're changing the name of OS X to Mac OS, which I already referred to it as Mac OS for a long time now.
Yep.
So okay, we'll just move on. E3 guys, E3. What stood out to you guys?
Stood out. Disclaimer: I've not paid close attention. Like most years, it's kind of like I'm going to take the equivalent of take work off and just hang out and stare at my TV for 4 days straight.
I remember last summer. I think I just sat in front of my computer the entire day and just sat on our TeamSpeak server, just like reacting with my friends to it.
It's fun because it's like was video game Super Bowl. Any kind of grandiose analogy you can use. It's like the biggest thing to just be a fan of games and look at it. But this year, I've not gotten super into it. I've seen a couple of press conferences, and that's about it. I haven't searched that much stuff, so.
I was working during most of these press conferences, so I had like a little live stream open on my work computer, that's like on the side, but I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. Things that stood out to me. I know Xbox is announcing a new console, which is kind of crazy, like a more powerful one. Scorpio.
So is PlayStation.
So the PlayStation.
But they haven't actually done it yet, right?
They haven't announced it. They haven't like officially announced it. They confirmed that it's happening to, I think, International Business Times or something, but they haven't. They have not confirmed. Like they have not really announced it. If it like a big announcement, haven't done a big announcement on it.
All right.
They haven't really gone through the details themselves, other than the forms that leaked that we saw.
Right. Is Scorpio coming out this holiday?
No.
Oh, next. Okay. That makes a lot more sense.
They couldn't get the specs they wanted this soon.
Yeah, that's true. Because they want the next gen graphics cards, and the next gen graphics cards are insanely hard to come by right now. Like I'm trying to buy a GTX 1080 or a 1070 right now, and they're like impossible to find. It's ridiculous.
So they keep touting the word gigaflops. Could you explain what that means to me?
Gigaflops?
Yeah.
It's honestly almost meaningless. It's like a benchmark for how well a graphics or how a computer performs.
Is like a CPU or?
It's like it's you could combine them. So like for the Xbox Scorpio, for the Scorpio they combine the CPU and the GPU, whereas I forget the measurements. What did Microsoft tout for their Scorpio?
A big sounding number, which is I guess all they really wanted, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
Like
that sounds important.
10 billion teraflops or whatever, or billiflops or gigaflops.
Billiflops. How many flip flops can they offer in the Xbox Scorpio? That's all I know.
So for reference, I don't remember the exact numbers, but from like I know the comparison between the numbers. I believe the Scorpio was on par or like about as much as a GTX 1070 or 1080, like which is really fast. So and like I mean, to be fair, they're going to be releasing this next year, so it's going to be a year behind in terms of graphics performance, but that's still very good.
Wouldn't this be far more expensive than the regular Xbox One price?
It has to be.
Announce it yet?
It didn't announce it yet, and Norman Chan said this on the Tested podcast that played today, but and I'm just like just playing a little telephone here, but because Xbox is also announcing their Slim, their X Bones,
the Xbox One S.
Yes, Xbox One S. X
really
Bones.
Just getting that iPhone branding going.
Oh yeah,
the platform rather than the device.
I know. Everyone's doing the S though. Galaxy S.
What is the S? Does the S even stand for anything, or is it like super? That's
probably
slim. Okay. What is that for? Everything means slim, or is it just the official?
I mean, phones keep getting slimmer and slimmer, so you could say that. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just letters.
It's just letters.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that they're releasing this one later this year, the new Xbox later this year, and then another Xbox next year, tells me that like this is something else, Yeah. And it's gonna be a nightmare, I would say, for console developers.
Yeah. I mean, when the companies announced that they were going to make additional consoles, I believe a lot of companies publicly spoke out against it, since the best thing about developing for console is that there's only one version that you have to worry about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and now there's four, right? Because you have PS4 Neo, you have Xbox One, and then you have a PlayStation 4 vanilla, and then you have Scorpio. It's insane. And to be fair,
PC.
PC. Well, no, because these computers are basically these consoles are basically all basically PCs at this point.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be that.
It's not as bad. So I mean, it's just a matter of like turning off the right settings. I mean,
Oh.
I'm simplifying it a lot, but
Yeah, yeah.
I it's kind of weird that like even though Xbox had like a lot of big announcements, a lot of people are still saying that like PlayStation still did better. I don't pick sides on this sort of stuff. I really like
disagree.
I really like what Xbox has been doing with their cross-platform stuff. They're like just all their big titles are cross-buy, so you buy it once and then you can play it on your Xbox or your PC.
We're gonna get to play. I'm gonna play Gears again. Like, I'm excited for that. It's weird to like view the Xbox press conference as a PC fan and say, "All right, what do you have for me?" Because I know you'll have stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's also kind of like I know it's also got to be kind of scary for Microsoft because they know that a lot of PC gamers are watching their conference to see what they have in store for them, and then at the same time they want to balance out with their existing Xbox fans, and like it's like if they announce that Halo 5 is coming to PC is that you don't want that at the E3 press conference.
Well, they're not. It seems like they're not in the business of selling Xbox. They're in the business of selling Xbox games, which is really important.
Services.
Service
Yes.
Games like Microsoft games.
This has been like Microsoft's strategy ever since they've gotten their new CEO Satya Nadella. Like he's been stressing services over like anything else really.
Yeah.
What with releasing Microsoft Office for iOS and all their Windows 10 stuff, they're very service oriented now.
Yeah.
This probably wouldn't have happened if they didn't have so much control over the Windows 10 store, right?
They were releasing games on Steam. They released what was it?
That Halo top-down shooter.
That released that on Steam. They released Ori.
Ori and the Blind Forest. Was it Quantum? Was Quantum Break going on Steam? No, that one's still
no,
Windows
that's
10.
But like, it's not like they're shying away from Steam.
Yeah, I bet I'm willing to bet that their first party titles will be Windows 10 exclusive. But
it doesn't
like
matter because we already have Windows 10. It's not like a big deal to buy it from there.
Well, the curmudgeon, the curmudgeons that are like holding on to Windows 7 like it's XP. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah. I mean, like honestly,
you can't cater to that audience.
To be like, yeah, you can't please those guys, and to be fair, like that's kind of their fault, really. It's kind of like it's like and this applies to a lot of things, really. Like if you are part of a, I mean, Windows 7, I guess it's not completely fair to say because Windows 7 is such a big market share, but like if you are a part of like a small group, you cannot expect to be catered everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. Right? Like as like if you're a purveyor of niche interest, you cannot be expected to like be catered to all the time. It's like, but what about Linux? It's like
that's how the internet works. Everyone wants everything to be everything for all people.
Yeah, it's very hard to do that.
And when it's not, it's a fucking outrage.
It's very hard to do so.
Yeah.
So yeah, Xbox's conference was pretty good, I think. I don't think there was anything like I don't think they messed up about anything. I know Kinect is kind of dead because they have to have it like the new Xbox does not
fire sensor on it though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
I'm not sure.
Either way, it doesn't have a port for the Kinect, so they're obviously not focusing on the gimmick anymore.
Yeah. So let's move on to PlayStation's conference because those are the two big ones. What'd you guys like from that conference?
God of War.
God of War. Okay, well, we'll get to the big one in a sec, but like God of War.
Well, I just want to talk about God of War.
What about God of War? What about God of War, Taylor? Tell me.
You know, as character, Kratos is the worst because he's an angry man. That is one personality trait.
Yes.
And this one, angry man as begrudging father, sounds amazing.
It does seem like
I fucking hate everything, but I've killed every single human being in Greece, so I guess I'll go to Scandinavia now and raise this stupid shithead son that can't kill a deer. And it's just kind of like, I just like that. Put this insanely grandiose character in a weirdly humbling situation.
Yeah.
That seems like a really good character play for me.
I want so this is what I want, because like I told Max about this earlier, but this is what I want, because I want a sequel to this God of War game already. For only one thing, at the end of the game, right? You've killed almost all the Norse gods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except one, right? Except one, and
just like the original.
There's a Thor Marvel crossover.
It is Thor. It is. Wait, hold on. It is Thor, right? And then like at the end, it's a very brief shot of him. It's very very vague and like very mysterious, and like you only see like his helmet or something. And like at the end, like right before the credits go open, he says one line, "Hail Hydra," and then it cuts to credits.
Boo.
It'd be like the.
And then Spider-Man comes in and is like, "Hey guys, you missed me."
Under Roos.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. No. I would love to see that happen. I know it's never going to happen in a million years, because that would be horrible writing. No one should ever listen to me.
It'd be the worst thing ever. That's why it would never happen.
I think it'd be awesome though. I would laugh.
Yeah, I mean they already got that Spider-Man game going, so they could really
made by Insomniac.
Yeah.
Are you salty about it, Max, because of the PS4 exclusivity?
Did you like Spider-Man?
Used to be a huge fan and was disappointed with all the crappier games. Like, to be honest, Amazing Spider-Man, the films and the games were not all that amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm salty. Just like how Bloodborne and a bunch of other games are PS4 exclusive. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty beat up over Bloodborne. What was that other game that looked really good? Horizon Zero Dawn, I think.
Oh, the one with
dinosaurs.
the robot animals.
That looked pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard that it plays pretty good as well.
I'm excited.
I
just
just
see that.
lost over like open world games at this point. I expect them to all be the same.
They're all published by Ubisoft.
No, I mean not even the ones that published by Ubisoft. Like just Ubisoft. Ubisoft is the whipping boy for that. Everything's the same mantra, but kind of. I feel like they're all the same.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do a lot. I think you have to add a lot of depth. Wait, well, okay, we'll get to that later. Never mind. A really big thing that was stressed over at PlayStation over at the PlayStation conference was PSVR, and PlayStation's touting 50 PSVR games by the end of the year, which is kind of crazy. Like, I mean, I know a lot
good ones based on what I've heard from the Batman.
Oh, that's fair, I guess. I know Bethesda is making a Doom for VR and a Fallout 4 for VR.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they'll be for PSVR, but I can only imagine so, since they're such a large publisher.
Yeah.
Even if they do put PC first, I would imagine they put it on PlayStation VR, which would leave all the poor Xbox One owners out of in the dust.
Well, they're gonna get the Oculus stuff, so it's not.
That's true. Microsoft has a partnership with Oculus. One of the so do you know how you get me to spend $800 on a PlayStation 4 Neo and a PSVR?
How?
Is it bundled together?
It is bundled with an Xbox VR game where you pilot an X-wing. That is how you get me to spend $800 on PlayStation stuff.
Is put Star Wars in it?
No, not just any Star Wars. It has to be like you have to pilot.
Want X-wing.
I want X-wing. I want X-wing or Rogue Squadron or whatever the hell flight sim, Star Wars flight sim, in VR. That's all I want. Like, if that's like, honestly, if you could put out if you want VR to be in the forefront, you make Rogue Squadron in VR. If you want people to die in their seats because they've been playing too much VR, you put Rogue Squadron in VR.
They're doing some Battlefront thing.
Yes, it's Battlefront X-wing mission.
Yeah, is that not good enough for you?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay. Like it's tempting me now. I'm like, ooh, You know, I mean, I'll have to see how it goes, of course, but like, I mean, it says X-wing mission and not missions, which is
So you think
especially,
it might be a VR experience rather than a full-length game?
yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
very disappointed if that was the case. And
I mean, that seems like that's what most of Tony's stuff is like, here's a thing, so the number of games we have can go higher.
and knowing
It's not the best.
and knowing how like Battlefront was with its kind of sparse content, I can expect something similar. So I hope the PlayStation VR is popular only just so we could get an X-wing VR experience, like a game, full-fledged game. That's all I ever want in like video gaming in general, really. Like I would actually dress up as the Rebel pilot, put on my helmet, put on my VR headset, and like buy like the thousands of dollars in throttles and joysticks and play it. And like if I could do that, like I'm pretty serious about this. I really want to pilot an X-wing, guys.
Yeah, we could tell.
So yeah, a lot of VR at E3. Oh wait, before we move on to EVR though, my favorite moment of E3 was when one of the PlayStation guys announced like, here's our very special guest, one of the most iconic figures in gaming, and then the curtains come out, and then it's dark, and then I see like a small Asian guy, kind of, I don't know how small he is, but he's walking down some stairs, and I'm like, who is that Asian, like that Asian guy? He's probably like Japanese since it's Sony. I guess he's like some Japanese pop star or something. I don't know who that is. And then I see like the screen behind him, and it's a logo and it's a helmet, and I'm like, oh, wait, no, that's the Kojima logo. Oh my god, it's Kojima, and like I start freaking out, and yeah, it's Kojima.
The whole
favorite
crowd freaked out.
My favorite two lines in all of E3 is "I'm back," or favorite two words, I guess.
Yeah.
So should we talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
That's branding. What's the guy's name? I already
Norman
forgot.
Reedus.
Norman Reedus. From
Naked
Walking
Norman Reedus.
Dead. Naked Norman Reedus on a beach with a baby and an umbilical cord, I'm pretty sure.
And scars on his belly, which can only mean one thing:
Means he had a C-section.
male C-section.
And there's a ton of dead fish and a bunch of dead whales, and then there's 5 things in the distance, and none of it makes any fucking sense.
And
you're
they're all like
right.
dripping oil. And you're
Yeah,
like,
oil.
Yeah. Apparently, it was all rendered in real time, which, I mean, I know that says nothing for a game so early in development. But I'm excited to see what he has in store for us, however weird it may be.
I really
Do
want
you
to know how
think-
much Konami's been holding back all these years.
Well,
Creatively.
probably since wanted to stop making Metal Gear since Metal Gear Solid 3 or 2. One or the other. So he's spent over a decade making a series that he didn't really want to spend his entire life on.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see what Kojima could do. Not what he should do, but what he could do.
Well, he'll probably do another environmental message, considering we see oil and dead sea creatures.
Yeah, especially like whales, Japan.
Yeah, that's it. That's interesting, huh? Like you're putting environmental messages in video games. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't see that very often.
Because the title of the game, Death Stranding, apparently refers to the stranding of whales on beaches. So we got that going.
Where'd you hear that from?
I read that somewhere, and if you hold on,
If you go to the Wikipedia article on it, I think.
if you Google search Death Stranding,
Well,
now
you'll just get
Norman
Kojima now.
Norman Fetus, but
Norman Reedus with his Norman Fetus.
Norman's Fetus. That game should be called that.
crap, it's no longer popping up. But at first, the Wikipedia article about the stranding of whales did pop up.
Okay.
Yeah, but what else is there for that? Spider-Man. Which conference was that long ass game where they just fought a boss fight forever and it was boring as hell?
Was it the Final Fantasy one in VR or?
Oh, Final Fantasy VR also looked terrible.
It looked
all the
pretty
VR
bad.
stuff, they looked fucking garbage. Like we have
Yeah.
50 games and they show 2 of them, and you go, okay, is this the best you have to show? I don't know what the rest of these are.
And the Star Wars one
Awesome.
wasn't even like there. Like you didn't do anything. It's just like, I don't know.
Taylor, are you talking about a 2D game?
Oh no, I remember. It was the one with the
Cuphead?
dragons, right? Was it the one with the
Yeah,
dragons?
the fucking dragons and headphones, which is a good combo, but the boss fight was super boring.
I forgot what. I don't know.
Scalebound?
Yeah,
Probably.
Platinum's
yeah,
Xbox One exclusive?
yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy boring.
Yeah, it was so slow.
Speaking of which, it seems that besides Near Automata, however you pronounce it, Platinum doesn't seem like it likes the contracted games it has to work on, such as all
Oh,
of its Activision games besides Transformers. People say they all feel rushed and like shit, and Scalebound might join that.
oh. I'm.
Yeah, you never know what kind of platinum you're gonna get.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, you're getting the bad one these days.
Well, their PS4 one might be good, but we'll see. We'll see.
I want Metroid Prime Platinum. Is that Platinum?
No. That's not
That's
Platinum.
that's
Platinum
that's
has
a
never made a Metroid game.
no. Sorry, that was someone else. My bad. Um. Okay, so speaking of VR though, from PlayStation VR, Oculus and a lot of controversy this week.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been good for Oculus this week. Well, they like to think it's good, I guess, but not so much good public reception. So a lot of games were announced for VR this week. Most of them were Oculus timed exclusives. I didn't see any games that were like hard exclusives, really, like where like they were like only for Oculus. I know maybe some of the Oculus like first party titles might be, but a lot of them seem like timed exclusives. But the big thing to come out of this was I think there's this game that's it's like called Giant Cop.
Yeah.
It looks like a really fun game, actually. It's like you're just like picking up people and throwing them away. You're like a big person, and you're just taking them like you're just managing a little beach town, and you're just like throwing evildoers out into the ocean and stuff like that, like just picking them up and yeah. But like so apparently that game's been in development for a while, and they were even taking pre-orders on Steam from what I understand. But they recently dropped Vive support, HTC Vive support, and in their trailer for E3 this year, they announced Oculus timed exclusive, which which a lot of people see as very, very, very dirty, because I mean they had the support before, but now suddenly Oculus appears to have just like to a lot of people what this looks like is Oculus went into a shady alley with these developers and said, "Hey kid, you want some money?" And the developer's like, "Oh, of course I want money." And then Oculus says, "You gotta make your games exclusive."
We got infinite money. We're Facebook.
Yeah. And then no, it's not even Oculus at the point. It's the point. It's Mark Zuckerberg himself, hustling developers behind like in an alleyway and threatening them with money and exclusives, which obviously isn't the case. I mean it's a lot more complicated than that, right? Will Smith again, who we talk about often, is mentioned that like a big reason why a lot of these developers are taking this deal is that a lot of them were expecting for Vive to come out last year, right? It was supposed to come out holiday 2015. So a lot of these developers who are mainly indie developers budgeted themselves to come out with a game for
Oh, so they just need shit
2015.
Yeah.
right
Right.
now.
Yeah. So like come lunchtime, they're already 3 months behind schedule, right? Or too much ahead of schedule. Like they're running 3 months on like fumes. So they need that money. So like that's at this point Oculus is kind of looking at like their savior at the small price, it seems, of timed exclusives, which to be fair, like I don't really mind timed exclusives, but like it does put a dirty taste in my mouth, especially for something so young like VR. I just like and to be fair, the Giant Cop guys did implement Vive support back into their game, just to calm the masses down, because people were getting real angry about this sort of stuff. So
It's the people who own this shit.
do you
who spend
think
all this money, right? Like,
do you think it's it's the people who own that stuff that are getting mad?
Probably not. They could definitely wait and afford, since they have been already waiting.
Like I'm willing to bet it's people who are like kind of like kind of like out like kind of against Facebook in general, and I've always been like against Oculus since the acquisition, and like just trying to find an excuse to get really mad at them,
Hmm.
getting mad. And like especially like it's the ultimate good guy versus bad guy scenario for them, where it's evil Facebook against our glorious savior Gabe N.
Why is
It,
that's so fucking dumb?
it's
Yeah.
really dumb. I think it's really dumb too, because I mean they're just kind of like furthering this idea of like console wars for VR, and I don't like it. I mean to be fair, Oculus is putting money where money where their mouth is, with their exclusives, but but just by kind of like acting kind of reactionary, it's also kind of it's making it worse, I feel.
Yeah, people are just brand loyal even though they don't own the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
what are you on about, guys? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Like, because like I guarantee you, a lot of the posters that are angry against Oculus right now don't own a Vive or an Oculus or a
Yeah.
Rift.
Yeah.
They're just for Steam and against Facebook. That's what they're at. That's what they're really about.
Because they view Valve as infallible.
Which they are. I guarantee
No.
you
They are
No,
not.
no.
They are not.
They're just a very sneaky evil corporation.
Yeah. I'm looking at mod support from Fallout 4 and Skyrim with a very weary eye right now.
Yeah.
I'm very suspicious of that.
Yeah.
Like like honestly, like have you guys seen the menus for these mods?
No.
Yeah,
No.
when you open it up in the console, like on the console, like it's like a little gallery of mods, right? And I swear to God, all that's missing from those screenshots is a little price tag on the corner of each tile. Like it looks like it would fit perfect there. I'm not even joking. It's terrifying.
Huh.
Well,
I mean, people are entitled to charge for their mods, I suppose.
sure.
Especially if they're hard work and they have to, as long as they give their money to the developer and whatever, all that. But it's by Bethesda forcing their hand and like making people like letting people like providing a platform for people to charge for mods and stuff like that. It's kind of weird. I don't. We'll see how it goes. But anyways, back to the Oculus thing. It sets a very bad precedent, I think, for this exclusive sort of stuff.
Yeah. Oculus was the ones like, oh, we're just for the VR as a concept. That's who we're fighting for. We're against,
Yeah.
not going to be competitive against Vive until they just kind of very quietly became extremely competitive against Vive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I would actually be almost like pretty okay with it, actually, if it weren't for the fact that Oculus had locked the Vive out of their store. Like, I don't mind them launching all these games exclusively for their Oculus Home store. Like, I mean, EA does it, like they have exclusive titles for Origin. Valve does it. They have exclusive games for Steam. So I mean, it's fair for them to put it on their Oculus store. But when you're locking down hardware to the store, it becomes a very different story. Because, I mean, like what would happen if like there were games like, oh, Battlefield 1, you can only play it on Origin, and you have to own an AMD graphics card.
That would
Oh, God.
reduce the amount of players significantly.
Because this is basically what's going on here.
Yeah.
So I like, honestly, the best thing Oculus could do right now, just to like, well, honestly, I don't know what they could do right now. I mean, Palmer Luckey and his guys are in kind of like defense mode right now, trying to not get crowd control mode. They're basically in crowd control mode.
Yeah.
But if they want to make people feel better, and right now it will not help the reactionaries out there who don't even own a Vive or a Rift. But I think the best thing they could do is just open up their Oculus Home to the Vive. Like let them play games through the Oculus Home.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be fair here. It takes a lot of work to develop for two different platforms, because I mean, as similar as the two headsets are, they're still at the end of the day two different things, and you have to do a lot of work for each of them. Right.
True, but I mean, there are programs to kind of help with playing a game for one system on the other, though it's not perfect. But the VR is too young. what was the saying that was it a rising tide helps all boats or something? I forget, something like that. And
That makes
if
sense.
Oculus closes off half of VR from the other half, then it, they might risk an early death for VR.
Yeah, because the whole messaging of we're just rooting for VR, we need this as a concept to solidify before we have to be competitive. That is very true.
Yeah.
And then them just backing out of that because they're losing in defensive is shitty.
I wouldn't even say they're losing either. I'm willing to bet that they're selling perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how it is actually.
I don't know
was,
either, but
I don't know
from
what
I
the
guess
numbers
from
are.
my perception, they're losing because the controllers are incredibly important.
Oh,
part
that's
Yeah.
that.
that they
That's
just don't
fair.
have.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's very. I yeah, I guess I could say I would. I'm sure when like Valve announced like they're kind of going straight for the gut for in terms of Oculus, where they were like, we're gonna release first and we're gonna release with controllers, you know.
Mhm.
Whereas Oculus was like, oh shit, they have controllers and camera. Oh,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Well, we're cheaper. Like, okay. Well, cheap doesn't matter right now. You don't really have anything going for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm very worried for VR right now, and I hope it turns out okay, because right now it's I think it's kind of representative of the new way of doing tech business, where before it was all about standards and creating the best product and like implementing all different resources right now. Like it's like before it was about we have everything, you could do everything here. Whereas now it's more like we have the most money, choose us or else.
Yeah.
It, it's it's like I believe it kind of signifies a change in corporate culture in terms of where the tech industry goes.
Yeah. Everything's an iteration, just like the Kanye West album.
Oh,
Mm.
very nice. Bringing it back around. uh, that's all I have for on my end for in terms of like big big stories this week. I know Valve announced a Vive business edition, which a lot of people at first like kind of raised their eyebrows at because it's like $1,000 or so, or even $1,500, I think $1,200 for an HTC Vive. But the thing is that it has support behind it. So like, you buy a Vive and you have like 24/7 support from Valve or HTC Vive or HTC, which is kind of crazy. And this kind of goes back into our hypothetical VR arcade, because instead of buying like consumer Vives and having to deal with each individual warranty, you could buy this like business edition, in bulk, and then have Valve like HTC service them if they need work, if they break or whatever. I think it'd be a lot more better. It'd be a lot better as a business if you want to make a business off of these. I don't know. It just sounds like a cool idea for me.
And the hypothetical VR arcade is definitely real. There's actually one opening up in Roseville.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Do you know what they're doing over there, or?
Nope. I just saw an ad to apply for them on Craigslist, and I did.
Nice.
But no, nothing back.
You're
But I just thought that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I wonder what they have in store. Actually, I would like to check it out.
I think they have Vives.
Okay. That's actually more interesting, really, because
Probably just a Vive and a TV, like maybe 5 of those or something. I don't really know how they're charging for it or anything.
yeah.
Per hour? No. Considering how short most VR experiences
I mean,
are.
per hour, like you're gonna get everything you want in like 2 hours, and then you're never gonna go there again. So
They don't
That's
have to
true.
price a pretty high premium, wouldn't they?
Maybe. I mean, it's the first of its kind, so they could probably set any price they want.
Yeah.
Like I just like I know. So we didn't mention this in the last podcast, but a couple weeks ago was Computex, and they had a lot of like big hardware vendors like Asus and MSI. They were demoing. MSI was demoing a backpack where it's like an entire PC stuffed into a backpack, like it actually looks like a backpack, and like it has like a gaming computer in it. And the idea was that you had batteries attached to the computer, and then you could like use a VR headset without having to worry about wires. Which I thought was like kind of like It's a solution for a problem that will hopefully be solved soon. Like it's an early solution for a problem that will hopefully be solved later. Because like the wires are a big issue on VR headsets right now. So
True.
uh, yeah.
I believe there's supposed to be some sort of VR laser tag experience that does the same concept of putting the computer on someone's back.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was in Australia they were doing it.
I'm
They
not
had
sure
like
if it's
big
Australia.
they had like these big gaming laptops and they stuffed them in backpacks with batteries. And you all get into a warehouse. You have to schedule appointments, I think.
Yeah, and then you see through the VR instead of real life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It looks really interesting, but I mean, the game looks like it sucks though. So,
True.
do you guys have anything else? We're running
Dishonored 2.
Skyrim
Dishonored-
remastered.
Skyrim. Okay, so yeah, like, well, yeah. Oh
Which one
yeah.
are you going for?
Let's go with Dishonored 2 first, because
All right.
I like the stealth games and I like Dishonored.
Yep.
It looks
Did you,
really fun.
Did you play through Dishonored 1? Or?
I did.
Yeah.
I did a.
Yeah.
I didn't
That game
do
is sweet.
I didn't do a peaceful playthrough. I kind of killed people as I needed to, but I like the peaceful no kill playthroughs.
Yeah.
What did you guys think?
Whew.
I like Dishonored a lot. It's very smart and like level design, top notch. Excited for the next one. See, it seems like they're expanding on the powers
Yeah.
like a shit ton.
It's not just gimmicks. It's completely new concepts in the powers, such as the what is it? Switching between two timelines.
Oh yeah, that one level.
Yeah.
I always get
they-
weary. I always
that
get
level.
weary. I get really scared when people start implementing time travel.
Well,
'cause
I
it
mean,
gets
in
me
this
real bad.
case, it doesn't seem like
not-
they're
it
actually
doesn't seem like
changing
it's a-
time. They're just one person just changes which timeline their body is in. So,
Yeah.
so you can navigate around obstacles and stuff like that.
yeah.
Well, is it a destroyed building or when it was still a state with a bunch of guards in it and stuff?
Yeah.
So you're trying to maneuver between like you can go through a wall because it wasn't there when it gets destroyed, or trying to go around guards by switching to the timeline where they aren't there because it's an abandoned building.
Oh,
Like really interesting, like just tease at the end of that. video.
it reminds me a lot of the Have you guys ever played that Portal 2 mod with the little time portal?
No.
Like
I
it was
have not.
it was a very small level, but there was like this portal and it like changed time. It was really interesting, and like you had to be able to, like navigate a box throughout like before Aperture Science, like before Aperture was all like green and overgrown, and then back to the old days. And it was really interesting. I don't know if I could ever solve that puzzle. That was kind of hard.
And the other thing I wanted to mention was We Happy Few. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
It was out last year, right? Like they demoed it last year.
It's not out. It was a Kickstarter game from last year, I believe.
Okay, I remember seeing it. It looked pretty cool. It reminded me of Bioshock.
It's a little bit of Bioshock tone, and the art style reminded me of Dishonored. But the biggest influence I got from that was Bioshock mixed with Brave New World, the book by Aldous Huxley, I believe,
Mhm.
Yeah.
where it was just take this drug and everything will be good, and then the guy does not want to take the drug, and things do not go good. I don't know. I don't know what like the gameplay of that really is, but I don't really care. I'm all about that mood.
It looks like a survival game from the. I didn't watch too much of the demo from this year, but from last year, I remember it like you were like scavenging for like items to craft with.
Because you're like on the run.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Apparently, it's roguelike as well. As in, every time you start a new playthrough, the city environment outside of the office that you begin in becomes randomized.
Huh.
And it's still going to be story based at the same time.
I mean that ideally that'd be pretty cool, but like I feel when you add a roguelike element, I feel like you lose a little bit of depth in terms of level design and all that.
Yeah.
Because it's not
Yeah.
like
There's missing some handcraftedness.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you could still implement it, but it's a little harder with the roguelike element.
Yeah.
It could be done though. I have faith. That looked pretty fun. Yeah. Any other games you guys saw that were pretty good? I mean, I'm a huge Deus Ex fan, so I welcomed the new Deus Ex footage. I think they're gonna have more tomorrow too, actually. Or I think it was demo today, actually. Might have been today.
Max mentioned Skyrim Remastered.
Oh yes, Skyrim Remastered. Sorry, we almost skipped over you.
Well, I mean, like, it's not a new game, rather,
Right.
it's a port.
Technically.
Max, this is coming to PC actually too. We all thought it was just going to be remastered for. Well, okay. Max is our resident Skyrim modder. So Max, why don't you give us a rundown?
I spent far more time modding it than ever playing it.
Yeah. Why don't you give us a rundown on what Skyrim Remastered will bring to the table?
All right, the most obvious one, if you see the little trailer, is new shaders, so that the lighting looks better, without having to download an ENB or anything.
Well, there's 3,000 mods for that.
Yeah. But yeah, that part no one really cares about. That's just a perk for the console players, not the PC players. The biggest thing is that it will be 64-bit as opposed to 32-bit.
What does that mean, Max? What does that
Which
mean?
means that when you are downloading and installing 256 mods, the chances of it crashing are slightly lower. Actually, considering it's a Bethesda game, that might not actually change, but but there's a chance that it will be more stable, and that the graphic and that the lighting that's in the remastered edition will perform better than Skyrim with a lighting mod. So
It's not worth buying it for you.
no. If you have all of the DLC or Legacy Edition, you don't have to buy the game. You'll get it for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was really good. Like, I think everyone, I know, like, this game would have like no.
That only in PC or is that console too?
No, well,
I
the
think
remastered edition for
free version,
consoles
I mean.
is only for the new consoles, not for the previous generation. So it wouldn't matter for them.
yeah. I mean, I think when it comes out later this year, I think I'll probably mess around with some modding when it comes out. Because I mean, I've been meaning to go back to it, and especially if I get a new graphics card between now and then, I would really like to kind of push it with some nice mods. And if I could get it to not crash as much with with it, I'm really excited. Any other big games you guys want to see? I know Battlefield 1 gameplay footage got shown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Battlefield guy.
Oh, Battlefield 1. Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. I mean, it obviously looks really good because it's.
We talked about like how are they gonna deal with the tone of it being World War One and like how fucking crazy that war was comparatively to everything else.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're just gonna ignore it.
Yeah.
They're just gonna make a Battlefield game.
Yeah. I think that's okay though. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Yeah. I don't know why I had expectations of anything else.
I finally gotten over the fact that they're gonna ignore the whole trench warfare and all semi-auto stuff, but I do have one nitpick, which is how the announcer inside the game sounds like a female computer as opposed to a sergeant screaming into a radio.
I want like the old timey news radio go. Oh, Dayline, Poland.
It's just
It reminds me of.
feels like a simulation.
It reminds me of Was it the Quake? Was it the Quake announcer where like she always sounded like she was on the verge of just like of the throes of pleasure? Just like, was it Quake or was it Unreal? Where like, do you remember that
I think
announcer?
that was a mod.
Was it a mod? Okay.
I know what you're talking
much.
about, though. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Like, if you ever play like Gun Game or something in like Counter-Strike, like there's that female announcer that sounds like super like way too like super erotic, and it's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like to me, and I was like, okay, this is a little odd.
Apparently, hold on. I believe it is. Yeah, it's Unreal. It's Unreal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the game looks great. I have no issues with it. I know there's a little bit of an issue where the French army, which played a really big role in World War One, is DLC in the game for Battlefield 1, which is a very EA and Battlefield thing to do. Which kind of sucks.
Well, the
What is that,
US
just
is a
like
major
skin
faction
or-
in the game, while not so much outside.
Yeah.
Huh.
The French army will still appear in the campaign, which I guess confirms the campaign, which is good.
Yeah. Okay, maybe that's what I'll get my
Your French
weird
fix.
World War I story.
Yeah. I mean, Battlefield games have never been really good on their story, other than the bad
No,
company.
no, definitely not.
You know, but I hope they try to do something a little bit nicer here. I mean, especially with the setting, like, I mean, we've played out the modern shooter campaign.
Yeah, if you're doing something interesting in the setting, like fucking do something.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Speaking of a campaign, Titanfall 2 will have a campaign. So there's that.
The first Titanfall technically had a campaign, but it was just like a string of multiplayer games.
It was
Oh, yeah.
basically just putting some extra flair onto a multiplayer game, not a true campaign, in my opinion.
We forgot about Titanfall 2.
I was the only
Yeah,
one who
that's
didn't
coming
forget.
out.
Yeah,
That's coming out.
That story mode actually was what interests me the most.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'd be pretty
Relationship
fun to
between
play.
your mech and your person.
Dude, don't leave me or go on without me. You stay, I go.
you know, I feel like considering what happened to the mech's previous pilot, he's probably gonna kill his own pilot or something.
Oh,
You go, I say.
oh man, it's like they're attacking us. What should you do? It's like take these grenades and just run out.
Blow
them.
yourself up.
Or the mech just like leans over and ejects a guy, so he's like a human missile at
Oh man, that would be refreshing at least. That'd be pretty good. And like you start siding with the robot itself, and the pilot's an asshole, and that'd be.
I mean, in that trailer, you're like empathizing with the mech, and then his pilot died. And he's like, "All right, I guess I'll protect your new pilot." Like, just
Poor
I don't
guy.
know.
Oh
It
man.
just-
It makes like a good platform for like a pretty good storytelling.
Yeah.
Good story. I mean, I'm like, just because like I forgot about it doesn't mean like it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
It's just like a lot of stuff this year. And
What do you think about the gameplay changes to it, though?
what are the gameplay changes? I know there's a new
Different
mech.
types of mechs.
The mechs will now be class based, as
Weren't they
opposed to
class-
full.
Oh, that's true. They were fully customizable before.
So some perks will be exclusive to certain mechs, as opposed to being spread out through all of them. Other things. Multiplayer trailer showed a grappling hook.
The grappling hook looks really cool. I like
This
that.
is the year of the grappling hook.
We're Attack on Titan now. We're Attack on Titanfall, guys.
Also,
there we
Attack
go.
on Titan is a game, also.
Oh, that's also
True.
true. Yeah.
Um,
We're Attack on Titanfall now.
Some other
That's
small
what we're calling it.
perks. I've heard that it slowed down a bit though from the previous one. The developers say that it hasn't been, but other people say that the movement has slowed down a bit. I'm not sure how to feel about that.
To be completely candid though, like it looks almost a little bit too similar to the original game, to the original Titanfall to me. Like I want them to make bigger changes. I need them to make bigger changes if they want to succeed. Because
Bigger
right now,
changes in what way? You just want visual changes?
a little bit on the visual changes, yes. It doesn't look. It honestly looks almost the same as the first Titanfall. But like I think they need the grappling hook is a good start, but I think they need to add more different elements. I don't know what it is, but
Do
they
you
need to
mean
add
movement
something.
as well, or weapons?
Maybe ability. I mean, I don't want to say abilities, but maybe they need to add abilities to the soldiers themselves.
So you mean like
I mean, the first
Permanent
game
board
really just
cards?
lacked, like, just variety in any way.
It was just Call of
Sure.
Duty.
So,
but
yeah.
it was very balanced.
I don't care if it's balanced, if it's boring.
Yeah, I suppose that you kind of have to break what's not broken.
I almost miss it when it was always high noon.
Crap,
It was
3 minutes
broken in the way
ago,
that I got
some-
bored playing it after, like, 3 hours.
Yeah,
That's-
that is the big problem with it.
You could say it shows a really balanced 3 hours, but that's not worth any kind of money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, I think the developers did realize it, and that might be part of the reason why they're doing a fully single-player campaign, so that even if a person gets bored with the multiplayer, they'll at least have a story to spend a few hours on.
This is like a reason why a lot of multiplayer indie games fail, is because they don't have like any single player to back it up. Because I mean, if you cannot, like, they're just right out the gate, like you cannot just release a single, like a multiplayer indie game. I suppose Rocket League is an exception because of just, you know, how different it was.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, you can't just, you know, release a multiplayer game that's indie, because you have, like, it's dependent on users, and then if all the users are scared of whether or not there's other users, it's just, you know,
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. With the campaign on Titanfall 2, Attack on Titanfall, it's a little bit better though. That's what I'm calling it. Right? The official title of this game is Titanfall 2, Attack on Titanfall. Yeah. Any other big news? I know we're short on time, so let's wrap up here. Actually, Taylor, anything you've been checking out recently?
Nothing new. You know, that Overwatch game is pretty good.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Max has entered the fray.
Now I'm finally
the
not
game.
alone.
Oh, no, that's Smash Brothers.
So we're gonna get some plays of the game out of him now. Max, anything you've been checking out new other than Overwatch? Have you been liking Overwatch so far?
I'm glad I finally got it.
It's good enough.
It's not boring because I'm not looking for an arbitrary progression system. I'm just looking for decent gameplay.
And plays of the
Correct.
game. Yeah, that's good. Anything else?
Not on my end.
Okay. On my end, I finally finished Shadowrun Hong Kong. I'm a little sad now, actually, because I really like that game and I want to play more of it and more campaign, but now it's gone, so I'll have to try to find something else to play. And to supplement that, I've been playing Deus Ex Human Revolution, replaying it in the hype of the new game. So, yeah. Other than that, Battlefield 4, still liking that a lot. So, and of course, Overwatch. Yeah. We're really short on time here, so we're gonna wrap up real quick. The intro and outro you're hearing right now is by Grant Webster. You can check out his SoundCloud link in the video description. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow me at the James Lee, Taylor at T Kelsey, Max. You have a YouTube channel that you're releasing videos on. Getting something new up at some point.
Well, I do have footage for a new episode, so there's that.
Something in the works, I guess. If you want to check out our articles, you can check us out over at addendum.wordpress.com. If you want to send us feedback on the podcast, you could always email us at addendum@gmail.com. Without further ado, I'm your host, James Lee, and thank you for listening. And on behalf of Max, Taylor, and myself, we'll see you next time.
All right, bye.
Super fast.